Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Ohioan podcast. Craig Schaup here with Bob Garver, our New York City film critic. And if Bob is here, then that means we are talking movies, and we are talking quite a few movies here, Bob, as the summer movie season transitions into the fall Oscar movie season. We have quite the slate for you today, so we'll get right to it. The first film up here is The Woman King, Viola Davis stars. Bob, tell us a little bit about The Woman King.
Well, The Woman King stars Viola Davis as this general of I think a Goji is the name of the army of women warriors in the African kingdom of Dahomey, and these women rescue enslaved women from a rival tribe. Um, but they also engage in some slave trading themselves, which makes her feel conflicted. Um, but they also convert some of the slaves into soldiers for the Agoji, and there are also soldiers recruited other ways. One is given to them by her father, meant to be a wife for the king, but she becomes an Agoji instead, and we follow her journey as she trains and and joins the Agoji and works to end the vicious circle of slave trading.
Okay. Well, I know obviously Viola Davis is one of those actresses that, pretty much always brings it on screen. I think what four-time Oscar nominee, one-time winner. Is this another one of those Oscar bait movies here for Viola Davis? Do you expect her to maybe see an Oscar nomination for her role here as this physically demanding, role and as a warrior?
Yes, very very much so. I think she's, if not a lock, a near lock for a nomination. Also worth talking about for nominations are the actress that I don't have her name in front of me, unfortunately, but the actress that plays the young recruit
Okay.
that will uh, uh, be basically the introduction to this army and the real heroine who's on the come up throughout the story, and then Lashana Lynch, who is the trainer of this girl. And yeah, she's got kind of the comic relief, but she gets a lot of great scenes throughout the movie.
Sure.
And those three performances and the movie overall, I think are going to do very well come award season.
Okay. Well, sounds like you enjoyed the film. What's your final grade on The Woman King?
A minus.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right. So it looks like we've finally gotten out of the dull summer movie season at the end of the summer movie season anyway, and we're getting into Oscar season now here with The Woman King. So I know we have a lot of other movies to get to. I believe Pearl is also a movie that you've watched. Tell us a little bit about Pearl.
Well, Pearl is a prequel to a movie called X from earlier this year.
Yeah.
Um, it follows the villain from that movie as she was maybe younger and more naive, but we follow her during the Spanish flu, the last major pandemic that this nation faced. Um, we follow her as her husband is away at war and she has to tend to her farm with her demanding mother. Um, and she's introduced to um, a world of shall we say off-color movies by her projectionist friend, and she develops into the villainess that we see in that movie. It this is turns out to be a much better movie than um, just the slasher I expected. Mia Goth gives a tremendous performance, has a great monologue toward
Mhm.
the end, um, and just gives a great performance as this woman who wants to transition from farm life into show business. There's actually quite a few Wizard of Oz parallels
Okay.
as she wants to desperately get away from her farm. but things she doesn't go on an adventure so much as she goes crazy. Um, but just a tremendous performance. This is probably the most surprising film of the year.
Okay. Well, I mean that obviously. I know we talked about X, but I can't remember. Did you like X? I know it was that classic sort of slasher movie, but I can't remember if you liked X when we talked about that earlier this year or not.
I think I was somewhere in the middle. It was either a B minus or a C on
Okay.
X. But this one I liked a lot more. A minus.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're off to a good start here, Bob. I'm glad you had a good time at the movies here the last couple of weeks. What's your next movie?
Next movie is going to be Barbarian. This is a horror movie from Zach Kreger, sort of one of the players on the sketch comedy show The Whitest Kids You Know.
Okay.
So he's basically, I guess he's like the latest comedian to transition uh, to horror from comedy. Been a lot of those, most notably Jordan Peele and John Krasinski.
Sure.
And this tells the story of a woman that goes to her Airbnb in the middle of Detroit, bad neighborhood, but that's where she wants to book an Airbnb apparently. Um, it's pouring rain, and she gets there and she finds out that the Airbnb is already occupied. It may or may not have been double booked for the weekend, but there's a guy there played by Bill Skarsgård. And that should raise a red flag because he's Pennywise, but
Right.
it's double booked, and he's really awkward around her, and she hears a noise coming from the basement of the house, and she enlists the Bill Skarsgård character to investigate it. And then they both disappear for a bit, and then it picks up with a much less likable character played by Justin Long, who's the owner of the Airbnb. He gets in trouble. He needs to sell the Airbnb house, and then he goes there and he discovers what what became of them and what horrors await him. Hello?
I'm still here. Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's your overall grade here of Barbarian?
Um, See, I thought it was just too disjointed. The payoff really is not set up in any decent way. It's just a twist for the sake of a twist,
Right.
and the whole movie didn't really click for me
Okay.
once the big secret is revealed.
Okay. All right. What's your next movie?
Okay, the next movie is going to be the murder mystery See How They Run. This is a movie about detectives investigating a murder at a theater showing a play based on an Agatha Christie novel.
Okay.
And yeah, just a lot of Agatha Christie Easter eggs through this, a lot of dry British humor throughout it. Some fun performances. Adrian Brody, who's
Okay.
an Academy Award winner, is
Right.
the murder victim. Uh, Sam Rockwell, Academy Award winner, lead detective. Saoirse Ronan, Academy Award nominee, is his constable. Sam Rockwell's constable.
Okay.
And they go around. Everybody takes turns being the obvious suspect. The writer, a movie producer. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but yeah, just a fun little murder mystery romp for people who like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a good cast. Obviously, a lot of Oscar nominees and winners in there. What was your overall grade for See How They Run?
I give that one a B. I laughed a lot at it. It didn't really stick the landing as far as the ending, but aside from that, fun movie.
Okay. What's your next movie?
Okay, next movie is going to be Clerks 3, and Clerks from 1994. That has a special place in my heart. I'd say early 2000s. That was my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Uh, just something I would put on maybe weekly and and laugh at it and quote all the dialogue.
Right.
But yeah, it was the story of some 20-something clerks living at or working at a convenience store, and just all the things that go wrong in their day.
Well,
Um,
of all the Kevin Smith movies, I didn't know that Clerks would become his franchise, if you will. You know, with I know Clerks 2 came out mid 2000s, I believe, and then here
yes,
we have
there
Clerks
was
3.
Clerks 2 in the mid 2000s, and now
So, sort of the you played the long game here with the Clerks trilogy. You know, from the early 90s to the early 2020s. What was sort of your sense of the other, of Clerks 2, and then now what's your thoughts on Clerks 3?
I barely liked Clerks 2, and I barely liked Clerks 3.
Okay.
What happens is of the two main characters, one of them has a heart attack and decides to give his life meaning by making a movie about all the misadventures they have at the store.
Mm,
And the shoot, the shoot is filled with problems, but they persevere. One of them sells his stake in the convenience store to pay for it. Um, but all the meta humor about referencing the first movie, it doesn't work so well. What does
right.
work well is in the last act. This is a movie that does stick the landing, and once it gets more serious and it talks about how these characters have evolved and maybe how things are going to end for them, then it becomes a more poignant movie.
Well, I think I don't know if you watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It
Oh yeah,
was, and I think that maybe was one of the problems. There was that meta humor and trying to kind of maybe recreate some of the magic of Jay and Silent Bob, and trying to throw in maybe too many pop culture references, things like that. Probably for me that didn't work as well. And I, Kevin Smith, I've always appreciated a lot of his work. I love Dogma, I love Jay and Silent Bob, I love Clerks. I like Clerks too. I like Chasing Amy. I even was a fan of Jersey Girl. I thought that was a good movie that was just probably made at the wrong time because of the Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez breakups and Geely, and no one was probably going to buy into that movie. But I'm glad that he's still able to get the funding and making movies that he wants to make. And it sounds like Clerks 3 does succeed to a level. And I know that he had originally wrote this film and it was different. And then, of course, when he had his heart attack in 2018, he kind of changed the way this movie was going to be presented. So overall, what's your final grade on Clerks 3?
B minus.
Okay.
There was a long stretch of this film where I thought I was going to have to give it a bad review, and at the end it kind of pulls things around.
One of the things I think can sometimes make or break a Kevin Smith movie are the Jay and Silent Bob characters and what they do and how effective they are. I mean, obviously, I know that they're in here. I mean, I believe they're running a medical marijuana distribution. Do they work in here? I mean, do they bring sort of that classic Jay and Silent Bob comedy?
They do, but they've really lost a step.
Okay.
They're not that funny. There's a long sequence where Jay is camera shy, which doesn't play into what his character has been like throughout the last several movies.
Right, right.
I've definitely seen him play to cameras before.
Yeah.
Um, the Silent Bob Kevin Smith is the film's director of photography, and he gets a funny part where he decides to shoot the film in black and white, and we get a very lengthy explanation for why.
Okay. All right. Well, what's our next movie to talk about?
I think we're up to the um, a movie that's going to be the big movie this coming weekend, and that is
Okay.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Right. Olivia Wilde back at it here, her sophomore effort after Booksmart, which was very well received. Tell us a little bit about Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling tells the story of this woman played by Florence Pugh, who lives in this corporate, I guess you'd call it corporate community, along with other couples where all the husbands go off to work every day at a facility where they make, I think, what they call it progressive materials, which is like probably some sort of atomic bomb, but we don't know for sure. The whole thing is set in like this 50s domestic bliss type world, um, where she's really happy, but then um, once things start unraveling, she's a lot less happy because there are dark secrets afoot.
Okay. Well, obviously, Florence Pugh and Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde's also a star in this as well. You know, does this film work? I know there's a lot of buzz about it, you know, some good and a lot bad and some controversy aside, but you know, is this movie that was probably thought of as being an early Oscar contender? Is it worth the price, and does it maybe hold up to those Oscar level standards?
Well, it certainly does not hold up to the Oscar level standards. I wouldn't give it a recommendation at all. It's not as bad as its reputation is going to be. Its reputation is going to be as a huge bomb whose production was a mess.
Right.
It's not that bad, but um, yeah, I can't say I recommend it. The solution that they eventually come to is kind of lame, and you can just see what better. It's hard to watch any scene in this movie and not think of what better movies this movie's ripping off. Stepford Wives, obviously.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
because of the forced way the 50s lifestyle is presented as idyllic, maybe something with the Truman Show or Pleasantville.
Right.
Uh,
Okay. Well, what's your final grade here on Don't Worry, Darling?
a C. It's not terrible. There are some good suspenseful scenes, but it doesn't come together as a whole.
Okay. All right, Bob. Well, as always, always appreciate you stopping by. What's coming up for next week?
Well, next week would have been Don't Worry, Darling, except we were able to get to that today. I guess the week after we can do Smile, and there's another one. Um, oh gosh, I forget what it is. I'm sorry, but
Oh, that's
Smile
okay.
will probably be the big one in our next show in about 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, we'll keep the viewers and listeners guessing on what's coming up. So I appreciate it, Bob.
I,
As always, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
yep. Thank you. Take care.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.